What's up guys, Spartan85, welcome back to the channel, and the devs are speaking to the community again, but this time in a little different way. Joel Hunick, which is one of the co-founders, and in the town hall, he was the one on the far right, he went to Reddit and posted, "Why did you like jars?" Okay, so I'm gonna go and just read this out loud. We took jars out because there was never any survival element to them. You could scoop up some sand, craft 5,000 jars, and never have any struggle with water ever again. There was never a decision of craft this new cool shiny thing or have water to drink. It was so easy to have endless water that it shouldn't have even existed. Nobody ever spent a nickel on water, etc. If we brought them back, there would have to be some kind of balance, like you can craft them, dying or falling has a chance to break jars in inventory, maybe even restrictions on filling them. Or murky water can only make distilled water that isn't super safe to drink. You'd probably have to load the dew collector with water jars too. Is it the realism you liked, or that it was easy? Okay, now that that's done, go to the comment section. Let me know in the comments what you guys think about what he said. Is there anything you disagree with in there? Anything you agree with? Anything you like? Anything you dislike? Is it just the devs poking a finger at us again? And I guess I have to disagree with that very first sentence from Joel is, we took jars out because there was never any survival element to them. I highly disagree, because in the past alphas, the first couple days, that was one of your main struggles, was getting water. I mean, you had to hoard even empty cans to get water. And water became such a struggle. Now, yeah, later on, you had so much murky water and so much water that you were making glue and, clean water and all that, and you're making teas. But the first several days was a big time survival element to the game, a big time survival struggle also. I will say, I really do like the idea of having, like, if you fall or you take damage somehow, that the jars in your backpack could take damage. That's very realistic. And it's interesting about maybe you could go to the river and fill up jars with water, but the only way to maybe purify them is distilling them. That's still not totally safe to drink. That's interesting. As far as his last statement, is it the realism you liked, or is it that easy? I think that's what the glass jars comes down to. It's not so much that glass jars coming back to the game is going to fix the entire game. I think it just kind of represents that the player base wants to get back to the survival aspect of the game, the realism of the game. Glass jars is just kind of the representation of that whole idea of, we got rid of glass jars. Now we have this dew collector that takes away that whole process of going to get water, going to refill it up, maybe crafting jars, looking for jars, or even cans in the first couple days. And I think, like I said, glass jars to me just kind of represents the whole aspect of the game going towards this more RPG, quote unquote, linear style, and away from the actual survival aspect. Like the other day, I streamed Alpha 16.4, and Rat Dog, the guy who was playing with me, I mean, we were literally going out just to find cans, fill that up with water, and using boiled cans of water to just survive in the first couple days. Like, that's the survival aspect of the game. Now, I'm going to read a couple comments. The ones that I've kind of looked at, I think kind of represent maybe the overall feeling of the community, possibly. And this is the one that has the most upvotes also. My problem is that bodies of water no longer have any purpose or utility besides aesthetics. Whatever their issues, jars made bodies of water important to survival. You could get water from there and bring it to your base to make something you need to survive. Adjusting jars would be fine, but instead, you got rid of the entire mechanic. It just doesn't make any sense. A body of water should matter to a game partially built on motion, that water is critical to live. And that's kind of what I just said. I'm not going to restate all that, but one of my biggest gripes of the game is water has no use. Water has zero use. The only thing we do with water is it's one of our challenges to go up to a body of water and take a drink. There's no fishing, there's no boats. Now we don't have glass jars, and that's just a gripe I've had even before 1.0 was released. There's just not a lot to do with water in the game. And it's kind of interesting too, one of the replies to that comment, I used to actually consider bodies of water in base location choice for this reason. Do you guys remember that, when we used to actually consider a body of water as a location to build? Now we don't have to anymore. We can build in the middle of the desert miles away from water because now we have these dew/rain collectors now, and we don't have to go to water. And here's just another comment, a short comment that kind of resembles the sentiment of the community, in my opinion. I think that everyone's point is they didn't need to get rid of them and replace them with a whole new system. They just needed a rework. Simple as that. And I'm going to read the second part of this comment. Struggling to get water early on is fun. It shouldn't be easy at the start. But once I get some infrastructure set up, I would like to become a simple process so I can move on to the next challenge. Structuring in this way gives a sense of progression for the player, the feeling of knowing you accomplished a goal and no longer struggle with it. It shouldn't be completely automated because that wouldn't fit the theme of the game. But after surviving 4 months of bloody zombie hordes, yeah, water should be easy at that point. And that's just kind of saying, hey, yeah, maybe we want glass jars back, but they could be reworked a little bit. You know, they could be balanced somehow. Maybe glass jars and the dew/rain collector can live in harmony. You know, there's nothing to say that maybe the dew collector gets made later on in the game, where we use glass jars in the first 7 to 14 days, and then eventually we can craft the dew or the water collector and use that. And so if we want to build a base away from the water, we can have that. Just ideas to throw out there. Let me know in the comments what you guys think about these comments, and of course Joel's original comment too. I don't know, and it's hard to take this entire thing in context, but it almost sounds like the devs are trying to listen, but they're listening to the wrong thing, and they're trying to die on the wrong hill. Glass jars, or you know, whatever. They're trying to do this, and it's just interesting to see this, like, hey, it's not just glass jars. Glass jars just kind of means bring back the survival aspect of the game, bring back the realism of the game. And maybe these changes they talked about in the town hall will do that, some of these changes, but I don't know. We'll just have to see. Let me know in the comments, and I'll catch you guys out there in the next video. See you later. Bye.